What is up, Planeswalkers? Theorix6 back with more Magic the Gathering Arena. Today we are going to technically finish the second leg of our rotation. In that we're going to play some Abzan Midrange. I've gotten a lot of questions about what is going on with Sultai Muldroth and Golgari Zombie, so I figured I wanted to end the second episodes of this rotation so I can kind of start over a new rotation, just so those people's, not fears, but concerns can be alleviated. Now, we're essentially going with the exact same Abzan list I've had, and this deck is 9-4 in the constructed events. But this time I wanted to do a little bit of best of 3 play, just to test the waters of my sideboard. Now, there are a couple cards that I'm not entirely sure of, that's why there are a bunch of 1-ofs in here, but as the few ones that I'm sure about are 3 Duresses, and those are meant to come in the control matchup, as well as potentially a weird combo matchup. 3 Wild Growth Walkers. We do have a decent amount of exploring in the main deck, and this card is a nice roadblock in the aggro matchup. A 3rd Assassin's Trophy. We're only playing 2 in the main deck. This just essentially allows us to answer anything in a deck that's running permanents that we really want to get rid of. I'm testing the waters on Sorcerer's Spyglass because I've seen a lot of people use it, and especially it's meant to help against Planeswalkers, so I'm trying to figure out if Sorcerer's Spyglass is worth running in two spaces, if it's better to just run Ixalan's Binding, if it's better to just max out on Karna's Tyrants against the control matchup, so I'm not entirely sure. I've seen a lot of people use Sorcerer's Spyglass, so I want to, give it my own try. Similarly, Ixalan's Binding is kind of meant for those more grindy matchups where you're going to be able to target a very important card and have it so your opponent can't play multiples of them. This theoretically could be good against the green-black midrange kind of mirror, as long as you hit their big Vraska first, because big Vraska can kill this one. So that said, if you're able to hit little Vraska, it does probably stall them a little bit because a lot of lists right now are running 2 or 3. I'm testing out Settle the Wreckage. Again, Settle the Wreckage is one of those cards that definitely is good against the aggressive decks. We really like the ability to kind of wipe our opponent's board and permanently get rid of their creatures. But it's possible that Settle the Wreckage is also good against the green-black mirror because we're exiling their cards instead of destroying them. I've seen some Abzan midrange decks running Cleansing Nova, and although we don't mind our cards getting destroyed, in the mirror, we don't want our opponents to be able to rebuy their cards, and that's why I'm thinking Stellar Wreckage is probably a better choice. Again, I'm not entirely sure, that's why we're testing it out. 2 Lyra's, guaranteed strong card, very good in the burn mirror, or not burn mirror, but the burn match, because we're going to be able to hopefully gain some life. We're going to really use a lot of our early plays to stabilize, and then hopefully we'll gain life with Lyra. I'm not sure if she's actually going to be strong in the mid-rangey or control matchups, just because we do have plenty of grindy top end, so we're maybe not going to need a single bomb that doesn't necessarily do anything. We're adding an additional Eldest Reborn. When you're grinding in the super long games, I figure you might want an additional way to get a ton of value out of a single card, so that's why this is here. Not sure it should stay, but 1 Karna's Tyrant. Karna's Tyrant, I know, is amazing against control. However, I'm not sure if our tempo level, affords us kind of the ability to do this. We're not running the ramp package, we're not running Llanowar, we're not running the district guides or the other Elvish Rejuvenator, there we go. So I'm not sure if we're actually going to be able to consistently play this card. And that's why right now I'm only testing it. And then an additional Izoni, since we're only running 1 in the main deck, I figure if we're going up the Golgari kind of mirror, then we would want to test that as well. So I didn't want to jump directly into the competitive structured event. I wanted to kind of test the sideboard for a little bit and make sure I know what exactly I want to be bringing in. So there are some other cards that I wanted to try out, specifically Seal Away. Seal Away kind of is just a facsimile of Settle the Wreckage, so I'm not really sure if it is better to just wait till 4 or have Seal Aways. So we're going against Luminous Sun. No idea. This is an okay hand. Yeah, this is fine. We have 3 mana. This one does come in tapped, guaranteed, so I might actually play it on 1 and bite the bullet. And we have plays throughout the game, so this is fine. My apologies if my voice sounds awful. I think I'm getting sick. Opponent did mulligan to 6, kept it on top. And they're red of some sort, which makes me want to play this untapped a lot less. They could obviously be something like Jeskai, but that turn 1 land drop did sway my opinion. And potentially mono red with just a bad draw here. We're going to go ahead and... I think we would rather Thorn Lieutenant, because I assume my opponent is holding up removal to get rid of my turn 2 play. And this just makes it a little bit more difficult, excuse me, for them to do that. Yep, so we're at least going to have a 1-1, so, you know, this essentially was have your opponent discard a Lightning Strike, and it's a 1-1, so. This blocks this relatively nicely. We do have a Shalai, which is very nice. So now we'll go ahead and play the Merfolk Branchwalker, probably play the Folly out. If this on top isn't a land, then we're going to go and discard it, but it was a land, which is very nice. And it's a land that can come in untapped. We aren't going to attack. In this matchup, you really just want to drain your opponent of resources. I don't think getting in for 1 damage is worth the potential problem of not being able to block here. Because our opponent could, for example, remove the creature. That's an interesting decision, yeah. It's also an interesting decision that our opponent's using Treasure Map. I would not have expected that. So here, I mean, there's a couple different things I could do. I really am actually tempted to blow up their Treasure Map. But I don't really think that's necessary. I think it's fine just getting Shalai down. Shalai against red decks is just really backbreaking. That's one of the big reasons I like the idea of Shalai. Going to go ahead and attack with our 1-1 now that we have 2 relatively difficult to deal with blockers. And our opponent actually could have put a hold on their upkeep before they drew to Scry, but they got the mana there. Chain Whirler, sure. Chain Whirler is a little unfortunate, but we can go ahead and Chupacabra that. And we can Chupacabra that real easy. And I will say, now that we do have Shalai out, we are going to attack. So I don't have the same issue that I did before when I just had the 1-1 token and the Branchwalker. So my fear there was they could shock the Branchwalker that I would leave up, and I wouldn't be able to block. I'm easily going to take the straight here. My creatures are better. I can get them back with Finality, and I really just don't need to take any damage. My opponent has technically fewer resources than me, so cool. I do not care too much about that Chain Whirler. Another land here. We could even, honestly, Finality this board. Don't need to, though, so we won't. Of note, our opponent, this does have First Strike, so we wouldn't want to block this because they could shock it, and this would die and this wouldn't. I think I'm fine Branchwalker into Vraska's Contempt, I think, is probably the best play here. And we're going to go ahead and just keep that on top. Being able to just annoy the heck of our opponent is very strong. And we're most likely just going to use Contempt on this Chain Whirler. They could, of course, have Rekindling Phoenix, which they shouldn't show me pre-combat. Because of since they played that 4th land, we are going to go ahead and take some damage here. Just because we would want to get rid of Rekindling Phoenix over a Chain Whirler. Well, just another Chain Whirler, so that's fine. Yep, and they can Treasure Map, that's fine. Let's see where they put it. Put it on top, alright. So that's a card that they do want to draw. I will go ahead and just... will I? Now that I'm getting a second Finality, I kind of like the idea of keeping... Yeah, I like the idea of just keeping the Contempt for another card that's frustrating. Night of Autumn, I really want to hit a coffee house. I think I have to attack first with Shalai. She gets 2 counters, then -4, yeah. So in order to deal the maximum damage, I attack first. I'm blowing up the world, so I don't really care too much about them blocking. Sure. But yeah, now my Shalai is going to be larger. And this is the one that they saw, so this is the one we want to show them. Our opponent knows about this card. We're going to take action, make sure our Shalai doesn't die. And now Shalai is even harder for our opponent to deal with. They need to now spend 2 3-damage burn spells on it. If we draw another Knight, we're easily going to blow up that Treasure Map. But our opponent's dead in 2 turns. Yeah, so we're doing pretty good. Important to note, our opponent can't actually go ahead and play this tapped. And end of turn, we can get something back if you'd like. Our opponent won't be able to draw with this because it'll transform and stay tapped, so we're not worried about that. If our opponent plays something obnoxious, we can Contempt it. Otherwise, they're kind of just dead. Sure, that's fine. That does give them more mana. I'm at 12. If I have to, I can go ahead and Contempt my own Shalai, but I don't really see that being too much of a problem. Our opponent could Banefire me for, what, 6? So even that isn't too much of a concern. They could Banefire Shalai for 6. That's a reasonable thing that could happen. And then we just find it back. Yep, they go ahead and concede this game. On to sideboarding. Now this is a mono red deck, so pretty easily we're going to go ahead and bring in the Lyras. We're going to go ahead and bring in the Wildgrowth Walkers. Now I think what we take out is just a ton of our like super late game stuff. Like Eldest Reborn I don't think is very good in that matchup. Findbroker's like a fine card to draw, in that it's, you know, it's a 4-mana 3/4, but I'd rather just not have to deal with it. Moment of Craving, good. Thorn Lieutenant. I might drop another Vraska. Maybe we just drop a lot more Vraskas. Izoni's nice. I think. Yeah, I really like all of our late game stuff. We do need to still have a way to win. But I think, honestly, just winning with something like Shalai, like we did that last game, is fine. I think we don't need to muck up our hand too much. And Izoni does give us some life. So I think this is fine. Izoni's insects do die to Chain Whirler, but if our opponent is trying to blow us out with Chain Whirler in the late game, I don't think it's going to matter nearly as much as it could. As it could early on, I mean. Alright, let's see. Let's see Arena stall for a bit, alright. Once again, this hand is kind of just okay, since we only have... Not once again, I don't know why I said that. We only have 2 lands. We do have Branchwalker as well as Moment of Craving and Assassin's Trophy, so we have 3 cards that we can play. And we're going second, which means we're going to at least be able to see 3 cards, right? 1 before our first turn, 1 on our first turn, 1 on our second. Yeah, so I think this is fine to keep based on the likelihood of us seeing another land here. Yeah, I think this is probably a reasonable hand. Let's see if our opponent has a more explosive start than they did last time. Not terribly. I will just go ahead and play the Swamp. There's possibly an argument to be made to play this first, but I didn't see it. I'm not sure why my opponent's running Treasure Map, to be honest. Alright, so we did get the mana. Since we have the land, I would much rather play Thorn Lieutenant. It survives more things, and like last game, it keeps us getting a body. I think that maybe our opponent is actually just playing a lot of copies of... Why did I forget that? Banefire. Scry to the bottom, important. Another treasure map. That's interesting. Here, we don't have a 3-drop we want to play, so we'll go ahead and play the Branchwalker first. See what we can get here. Just a land. But we will go and play Folly first and attack for 2. We're going to go ahead and throw this land over here. And we're going to keep this one over here because our opponent knows about it, so... As best you can, you kind of want to sequence your plays using what your opponent has information on. Legion War Boss, alright. So that's going to get Moment of Craving. Or, actually, it's going to get Chupacabra because it's a better tempo play. Yeah, and they're trying to get up there real fast. I'd love to see another Shalai. Right to the bottom. Our opponent only has 3 cards left, so... Do I block that? I honestly believe, based on this, that they're running a lot of Banefires. No, I don't think I need to block that. I think trading like a 1/8 of a card. Oh, I bet a lot of people are angry about that. Whoops, that's fine. So now I'll just go ahead and attack with this, and I can hold up Thorn Lieutenant on the block. you know, changed my play a little bit. I could have just played the forest. So, something I should pay attention to. I will say, it's, you don't pay attention to kind of more minute things, like how many lands of a certain type you have, when you're attempting to commentate. Lava Coil, sure. I'm going to have a 1/1, so I'll still be able to block that if I want to. This is really why Thorn Lieutenant shines. It's just such an annoying creature for players to deal with. Someone commented recently about, like, what's going on with the music. It's just, like, gone. It just does that, and I have no idea why. Sure, so they have a bunch of things. So next turn they could Banefire for 5/8. Let's see. I have no dead creatures, so fine doesn't really matter. I guess I can Chupacabra this. And then it's attack for 3. I could Assassin's Trophy this. I guess? I just don't... My only has 2 cards left. They are getting some filter, but I'm at a good enough place that I think I'm fine doing this. The worst case scenario, I think, is like our opponent having Phoenix. But I don't think that they have Phoenix. And I want to kill my opponent as soon as possible. Yeah, let's see what they can do. I mean, not on their land. They will be able to start drawing cards. So I guess technically I could have trophied the actual treasure cove. Stopped them from drawing cards, but I'm not sure it's terribly important. Siege Gang Commander? Sure. Are you going to sack now? Because that seems like a strange thing to do. No, draw first. Well, draw like last. Should have probably drawn first if they were planning on drawing. It's another fine finality. I mean, we can just pretty easily attack here with these two. Find some stuff back. Choop up. Or we could just Finality. A lot of potential here. A lot of potential lines. I don't think I needed to attack with the Elf Warrior. It kind of has a free block on Siege Gang. Looks like my opponent is going to be using Siege Gang. Interesting. Are they also going to block the Branchwalker? That is what I would like to know. Yeah, it looks like they are. So, I mean, I'm going to get value out of this Finality. Or this Find, I should say. Cool. I had to look at my mana real quick. Make sure I could actually cast the Choop. Go and kill this. I mean, it's not a great value. Of course, our opponent was able to get some value out of that card, but you know, it's decent enough tempo. Opponent also doesn't have any more treasure, so I could blow this up. Okay, they drew a lot of treasure maps. Opponent only has 2 cards left in their hand. Put that one on top, alright. What would you like to do with your spiky goblin man? That is in a catapult. I am just now seeing this. Also, what the heck is wrong with its head? Gross. Frenzy. Hello, Frenzy. I'm gonna blow that up. I mean, you can scry, but... So, interesting. If they scry, quote-unquote, properly, right, then they're going to scry something to the top that they don't want, right? So that card is something that they shouldn't want. because they maybe don't expect that I'm going to blow that up. Because I'm going to blow it up. Oh, right, I'm going to make them search anyway. Darn. Oh, well. I should technically wait to do that afterwards. Yeah, that's fine. But I will go ahead and pull this up. I guess maybe I did need to keep in the... Well, no, I have Lyras. I don't know. It's possible I did need to keep in the value cards. Like, Vraska. We'll go ahead and Memorial to Folly as well. And just end the turn. I mean, we have no other creatures in our graveyard. Izoni is not good with only 2 eyes. Here, look. It's Izoni. This is what, Stingy McPincher or some nonsense like that? My opponent can get more treasures. They're at 11. 2 cards in hand. Bottom of the 9th. Base is loaded. I don't watch baseball. Come on, Chandra. You can do it. Fight with fire. Interesting. That's what it is. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and play this tapped. And I guess I'm just going to Izoni now. I'm not dead to a fight with fire immediately. So I guess I'm going to get 2 insects. Not a ton of value, but I would like to close out the game. And Izoni, if I need to, I can start sacking things. Just another land. Map. Get some stuff, yeah. I figured there were going to be some sort of weird big mana red deck. Let's grab that one to the bottom, importantly. That's the last card. Another Frenzy, alright. Interesting. Steamkin, sure. Drawing probably a land. They could play a Chain Whirler. Nope, they go ahead and kill Izoni. Lame. Drawing a lot of lands here. That said, I can just get back Izoni if I want. Yeah, I'll kill this. I'm gonna attack 2. I guess I could have used Find on Izoni. I guess it's actually better to Find here. And then just get back a Branchwalker. So I can play Branchwalker and just have more threats on my opponent. I think this is the correct play. My opponent could pretty easily swarm the board here. Getting a lot of mana. So, our opponent has access to a lot. This card is, I mean, it's just incredibly strong. Lava Coil, unfortunate. And then they can use Treasure Map or any of the Treasure Coves. Sure. War Boss. Put that on the bottom. I mean, they have 2 draws through whatever cards, through whatever nonsense, so. Yeah, man. I just realized we're still on the Amonkhet board. We don't have access to Amonkhet anymore. Letting that through. What are you doing? I'm so confused as to what my opponent is taking so much time for. Like, either they have something that they want to cast now. Like, they're targeting my insect for some... What are you doing? Please. Of course, this is bugged. This doesn't actually show. Fight with fire. Okay, that's what you're doing. They didn't kill my Branchwalker. That's interesting. So I guess they're just going to try and kill me to death with the burn that's on the top of the library or something? I don't know. Well, potentially can kill them next turn with Thorn Lieutenant. Potentially. Yep, land. They have one extra draw to get through it. Steamkin, sure. Phoenix, of course. Yeah, I guess cutting the Vraskas was a mistake. Or did I just draw poorly? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so I've drawn more lands than spells, right? 6, 8, 9. Yeah, so I've drawn 9. 9 like spells. And 10 lands. So, yeah, I think I just drew poorly. Also, opponent, please. Why have you done this? Maybe my opponent is just counting mana to burn me to death or something? I have no idea. Okay. Do you have the burn in hand to kill me? I guess not. They're gonna rely on the creatures. And I drew another land. Alright, we're going to game 3. Alright, so they're playing Coffee. I actually like the idea of Ixalan's Binding. I kind of like the idea of Duress as well. Throw these back in. That Izoni really didn't help me that game. Golgari Queens still are good, in my opinion. Moment of Craving still hits a lot. Maybe only 2 Duresses. Honestly, this isn't like a super fast burn deck, so I think Wildgrowth Walker might not be correct. I mean, it can theoretically gain me a bunch of life, but I don't think it's correct. I don't think I need all the finds. Probably don't need all the Vraskas. Still think Shalai is important. Yeah, really not sure on what exactly I should do here. I think it's correct to just get rid of the last Wildgrowth Walker. I don't think that this deck is a fast enough burn deck, if that makes sense, for me to care. Could be wrong. You know, it's why we're testing things. That's what these tests are for, and all that. Oh, this is just a bad hand. Okay, really, game. Guess we'll keep this. No, we're gonna throw it away. That's frustrating. Last game, we had way too many lands. This game, potentially just not enough. That's really annoying. We're going to go ahead and pay the 2 life. Play out this Branchwalker early. Oh, look, it's a land. Cool. So probably we'll pay the 2 life and play out Jadelight as well. We'll try to get that 4th land, so we can have the Chupacabra and whatnot. Man, the bleed is real. That does mean I don't have to actually pay the life. I'm gonna go ahead and not attack. You know, I'm already fighting from behind. Just nonsense. Oh gosh. I think we keep it on top, and the reason is we have a 4th land. We're gonna be able to get rid of some nonsense in the meantime to potentially work up to an actual way to win. So I think the reason we lost that last game, amongst drawing poorly, is that we just didn't have enough pressure on our opponent. So even though I just said we didn't have enough pressure on our opponent, we're not going to attack because we don't want to take any damage that we don't need to take. Nope. Cool, cool. Will I take the 2 damage to Chupacabra? Do I think Chupacabra will save me 2 damage? In effect. I don't know. But I'll do it. We're doing this before attacks because we don't want our opponent... Well, I guess we should have attacked first because we could have offered a trade. Yes, this is fine. We want to attack with our largest creature, even if they have removal for it. That's burn. They can't shove it in our face. We have an answer to Rekindling Phoenix, which is very helpful. But essentially, this is all we're working with until we get 2 more mana, because we had to mulligan down to 5. That's never fun. Lava Coil? Sure. They attack, I'm taking the trade every time. So this isn't really like a burn deck, is the thing. At this point, I think I'm confident attacking with the 4 still. If they want to trade that and a card in hand, then I'm fine with that. But looks like they are not going to. That's nice. We have an answer now to Frenzy, which is always annoying. Alright, that's getting blown the hell up. We saw what happened last game. I'm just gonna, do I just blow it up now? I'm gonna wait. Yeah, I'm gonna wait till their end step so that they can't play a 2-mana creature this turn. If I blew it up now, then they would be able to play a 2-mana creature out of hand. Hopefully, what it means is that our opponent doesn't actually have very good cards in their hand. So. Alright, we got another land. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in tapped. And we are going to attack with both, I think. We didn't see hasty creatures out of them, other than Legion War Boss's token. And the risk of taking 1 damage from a token, I think, is fine. While we, pressure them. Right, they're on a 2-turn clock right now. Immediately map. That's fine. Keep it on top. Less fine, but fine. Another Jadelight, which is nice. It doesn't up the clock, but potentially it gives us gets us to our Vraska. Should have manually tapped that to have black still, but and we're gonna go ahead and keep that on top. We can use that to gain life. We can use it to blow up the treasure map. At this point, we can Vraska to blow up something. So, I really didn't think that this was a bad matchup, like at all. Our opponent is still dead, like on board. I was fairly certain this was a good matchup, so I was wondering what went wrong in game 2, and I think it honestly was probably siding out the Vraskas. Just I needed a consistent way to end the game quickly, and Vraska does check any permanent really, any non-planeswalker permanent really well. So We got a pack. Heck yeah. Let's open up a pack. Alright, so I'm actually not as impressed as I thought I would be. What the heck is this? Interesting. With the Wild Growth Walker. That said, that was not a typical aggro game. So it's possible that I will need to play more. That said, this video has been long enough, and my voice is starting to get hoarse, so I'd like to thank Easy Mode, Dizzy Fam, Redberry, Kyoshin, Ox, Daniel, Flowerchild, Chow, 83, Zaraga, Mad Goes Bad for their wonderful support over on Patreon. Their support allows me to keep playing the decks that you guys would like to see. Speaking of, I will go ahead. I typically don't do this. I usually will do other decks. I'm going to go ahead and start the next rotation with Zombies and Muldrotha relatively soon, just because a lot of people have been asking about them. I'm getting delirious, and I'm going to be showing off their sideboards as well. So moving forward with the rotation decks, I'm going to at least be showing off the sideboards that I'm currently working on. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, go and tap that like button, add a subscription to your mana pool, and cast a comment in the comment section down below. And until next time, all will be one.